This is Lilian, welcoming you to the 1907th edition of the Enfield Talking Newspaper, Dateline the 18th of June 2015. The readers this week are Joan and myself, Lilian, with Colin on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Boulon, Harry Brewer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. Local stories include public meetings set to discuss Chase Farm's redevelopment, and mixed feelings over plans to axe mobile library service. If you are experiencing any problems receiving your Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 0208 805 6578. She is your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. And I have one special news item. It's with regard to the AGM this year. The annual general meeting of the Enfield Talking newspaper will take place on Tuesday, the 30th of June at 7:30 p.m. Refreshments will be provided. Due to room availability issues at the Park Avenue Disability Centre, this year the AGM will be held at Community House, 311 4 Street, Edmonton, London N9 OPZ. We would like as many listeners as possible to attend. We hope to provide a transport service, possibly by minibus, if numbers permit. If you would like to attend the AGM and would like assistance with transport, please contact Diane de Jersey on 0208 805 6578 and leave a message with your name and home address. And now over to Joan, who will read the first item of local news.
Library users are divided over cuts and changes to the service. Enfield Council is set to close its mobile library service, while some smaller libraries may be forced to share premises on all these proposed cuts. Plans reveal that all 17 libraries, the highest of any London borough, will be kept open, but 11 community libraries will be run alongside other services. Mobile libraries had more than 5,000 visits during 2014, yet the council will replace them with a streamlined and upgraded home delivery service. The four biggest libraries, Enfield Town, Edmonton Green, Palmer's Green, and Ordnance Road Community Hub, will become flagship libraries and extend their opening hours to 7 days a week after redevelopments. Orville Emery, 66, who uses the Enfield Highway Library, which is set to be named a community library, was wary of all the future cuts. He said, "If the council updates the home delivery service as it said it will, then that is positive. We know the council is in a tight position for finance, but with the majority of libraries losing a considerable amount of space in these plans, we have to look at this with trepidation. The last thing I want is to see their influence diminish in the community." But regular library user Jane Andyapan of Goat Lane welcomed the changes, saying, "It is positive. No libraries are closing in Enfield. I have been coming to the Enfield Town Library all my life, and I know many students use it for study, and the older generation use it as a meeting point." Although community libraries would operate in shared buildings, the council would remain responsible for running them. The authority currently spends more than £500,000 on resources for libraries every year and is looking to make cuts of £80 million to its overall budget. In this year's budget consultations, Councillor Andrew Stafford revealed residents placed libraries as one of the highest priorities and referred to them as sacred cows. Councillor Aifa Orhan, Cabinet Member for Children's Services and Education, said, "The flagship libraries will offer a truly exciting programme of activities and act as a centre for information, learning and the community." Opposition Councillor Lee Sanders expressed reservation for the plans due to go to Cabinet this evening. He said, "Whilst the Conservatives agree there needed to be a review of the library strategy to facilitate the changing needs of the community, I have concerns regarding the overarching strategy being presented, specifically regarding the removal of the mobile library service, which will be to the detriment of those more vulnerable in society."
Residents will have a chance to learn more about the planned development of Chase Farm Hospital at a public meeting at the end of the month. The Royal Free London NHS Foundation Trust is inviting anyone interested in the multi-million-pound redevelopment of the hospital in the Ridgeway, Enfield, to attend the meeting at the Dugdale Centre in London Road, Enfield Town, on Tuesday, June the 30th at 6 p.m. Residents will have a chance to view the proposed plans and listen to a presentation on how the hospital services will be kept running throughout the redevelopment process. Those attending will also have the time to grill hospital bosses about the plans. Chase Farm's hospital director, Fiona Jackson, said, "We are fully committed to continuing dialogue with the local community about our exciting plans to invest in the future of Chase Farm Hospital. So we hope to see high attendance at the public meeting later this month. Anyone who is interested in attending should email rf.cfhstakeholders@nhs.net, and more information about the redevelopment can be found at www.royalfree.nhs.uk/Chase Farm. The plans to develop the hospital site include bringing the spread-out nature of the 39-acre site into a more compact 17 acres. It is planned to sell some of the land for housing and a school, and the Trust expects to raise between £30 and £40 million to reinvest into modernising the hospital.
A children's charity has warned that the soaring number of vulnerable children in care going missing could lead to a rise in sexual exploitation. In 2014, children in care in Enfield went missing for at least 24 hours, more than 250 times, a 35.8% increase compared to 2013. The figure is the second highest in London, with 110 vulnerable children in care leaving their homes during 2014. More than 30 children went missing from homes outside the borough, but under the care of Enfield Council on 84 occasions in 2014, a 722% increase from 2013. July last year saw a boom, with children going missing in Enfield on 40 occasions more than during the whole of 2013. The NSPCC has warned that the number of children being sexually exploited could rise. A spokesman said, "Children who go missing from care are at great risk of violence and sexual exploitation. Our work shows that not enough is being done to understand why so many children run away, often dozens of times." The figures come from the London's Children Missing from Care report, released by London Assembly member Caroline Pidgeon, and show Enfield had the biggest jump in reports of children going missing. Ms. Pidgeon said, "It is disturbing that last year so many vulnerable children went missing from the care of Enfield Council. Each and every child that goes missing for 24 hours or more is at serious risk of harm. While I recognize that Enfield Council is at least being open about how serious the situation is, it is now time it acted and turned this situation around." Ms. Pidgeon added, "There is a serious problem with the number of children missing from the care of London boroughs in every part of London. Not one London borough can be complacent about this issue. A looked-after child is already a vulnerable child. If they go missing for 24 hours or more, they are immediately at serious risk, such as being drawn into criminal activity or becoming a victim of sexual abuse. Sadly, across London, there are a number of criminal syndicates which target girls and boys for sexual abuse, often targeting runaway children." An Enfield Council spokesman said the authority takes child protection very seriously and has significantly improved the method of reporting children going missing. He added, "We have commissioned an organization to work with children after they return to care to ascertain the reason for them leaving, so we can learn lessons and reduce the chances of it happening in the future."
Firefighters had no worries about running short of water when they tackled a blaze at a derelict building close to the banks of the River Lee. They used hoses to pump water from the river to put out the fire in a disused Thames Water pumping station in Harbert Road, Edmonton, on Monday evening. Flames ripped through the building, sending plumes of smoke billowing skywards. More than 20 firefighters from Edmonton, Chingford, Walthamstow and Woodford tackled the blaze. The alarm was raised at 5:26 p.m. and it took fire crews 40 minutes to bring it under control. A fire brigade spokesman said the ground floor and roof were partly damaged. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
Get set to let your hair down and party for the next 3 months as Enfield's spectacular summer festival serves up a variety of entertainment and fun attractions. Running from June until September, the council-funded extravaganza has something for everyone, from open-air theatre to tots trampolining, classical music and flower shows, brass bands and opera, plus a performance by top cellist Julian Lloyd are among the live music on offer during the Enfield Choral and Orchestral Musical Festival, which kicks off today and runs until Sunday with concerts at the Dugdale Centre in London Road, Enfield Town, and the Millfield Theatre in Silver Street, Edmonton. As part of the festival, Southgate's Chicken Shed Theatre throws its own family festival of the arts and theatre on Sunday. The Edmonton Summer Festival returns to Pims Park on Saturday, July the 25th, with a 1960s vibe, including live music, dance, drama workshops, and food stalls. And bringing the curtain down on the summer of fun will be the Enfield Town and Country Show on September the 12th and 13th. The jam-packed weekend includes rural crafts, dog shows, horticulture, circus acts, and live music.
I have Monty Meth's column. He is the life president of the Enfield Over 50s Forum. And he says, there's an old saying that if you are not a rebel when you are young, you have no heart. But as you age, you mellow, conform, comply. Well, in my case, the older I get, the angrier I become. I'm furious with the way our young people are being hounded. Not a word in the Queen's speech about the promised 200,000 houses to be built so that young families can aspire to a home of their own, as my generation did. Am I alone in thinking it is a pernicious welfare cut to remove housing benefit entitlement for all 18 to 21-year-olds, even though some will have nowhere but the streets to sleep? There's evidence galore that selling and not replacing council houses and now housing association homes will not increase the supply of affordable homes for young people. Yet the policy is pursued regardless. I despair when I hear John Kerr, the head of Enfield Grammar School, where my son was a pupil in the 1970s, warn that his budget is not enough to avoid a cut in teachers' jobs, an increase in class sizes, or cutting subjects such as music and the arts from the curriculum. Worse still, I hear that children of an evicted family have to travel from Croydon in South London to a school in Enfield because that's where they have been rehoused. Some people I know will say, I'm always whinging, but have the Scots suffered fewer cuts because their people know how to show their anger?
A man accused of beheading an 82-year-old great-grandmother is due to stand trial at the Old Bailey on Monday. Nicholas Salvador, 25, of Gilder Avenue, Ponders End, pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity at a hearing at the Old Bailey in April. He is accused of killing Palmyra Silva on September the 4th last year after storming through the gardens of Nightingale Road, Edmonton, armed with a machete. He is also charged with 1 count of actual bodily harm against police officer Bernard Hamilton, who was one of the response officers called to the scene after neighbours alerted police that a man armed with a long blade had attacked a cat. Armed officers raced to the scene as the attack unfolded and immediately undertook a large-scale operation to evacuate residents from homes along Nightingale Road, cordoning off a swathe of the street that runs through Edmonton. The trial is expected to last for 1 or 2 days.
When world-famous musician Julian Lloyd Webber suffered a herniated disc in his neck, reducing the power to his bowing arm, he was faced with the devastating reality of ending his renowned performance career. The 64-year-old brother of celebrated composer Andrew Lloyd Webber decided to retire from playing the cello in 2014, but has chosen to use his life-changing circumstances for positive projects. I had to stop. It was a difficult decision, says the father of 2, who will speak candidly about his life in a live performance next month titled An Evening with Julian Lloyd Webber at the Millfield Theatre. The former Hampstead schoolboy continues, I could have gone on playing gentle, slow pieces forever, but that's not the kind of musician I am. My repertoire was very restricted, so I didn't want to do that. I'm a very positive person. After what happened, I'm looking for new things. I have to say that those things I'm doing now, I wouldn't have been able to do if I was still playing all over the place. In March, Julian released his new album titled And the Bridge is Love, English music for strings, featuring music from his favourite string composers, including Elgar and Vaughan Williams. And for the first time, he has been involved in the production side of creating a record, which he says was a bizarre experience. He explains, I was the other side of the glass. There was this massive orchestra there, and for once I'm not that side. I was actually in the control room. To add to his already jam-packed schedule, he is currently travelling the country on a UK-wide tour, An Evening with Julian Lloyd Webber. Although this time he will be without his instrument, the show will take audiences on a historical and musical journey through his vibrant career, with video clips from past performances. He will be accompanied by his wife and fellow cellist, Jackson Lloyd Webber, and pianist Pam Chowam, who will perform powerful pieces, including Rachmaninoff's Cello Sonata, Fauré's Elegy, and Julian's brother's work, The Music of the Night. Julian is keen to interact with his fans. I think musicians shouldn't keep themselves away from the public, says Julian, who began playing the cello aged 4. Especially now, we are in a different kind of world, and I think people want to know what's going on and the stories that you have to tell. Along with his celebrated music career, Julian, named as the London Underground's first official busker, is also dedicated to music education in the UK. He is involved in the government scheme In Harmony, which aims to enable school pupils to learn a musical instrument for at least one term. The project provides instrumental training to youngsters from deprived backgrounds across the country and teaches them to work in orchestras. He says, "It's changing lives. I have seen it in action, and it's having a wonderful effect on the whole community. When you bring a lot of children together and they are working as a team, that's very important. You're contributing to something that's bigger than you as an individual, and I think that's the glue behind the whole thing. As someone who grew up surrounded by musical influences as a child, Julian's father was a professional organist and his mother was a piano teacher. He has a firm belief in the positive influence music can have on people. Music is an incredibly powerful thing, says the performer, who trained during his early career with award-winning cellist Pierre Fournier in Geneva. It's something that speaks directly. It doesn't have barriers of class, race, or language. It's something that connects people together, and I think that's why it is so effective. I don't know how my life would have been without music. I can't imagine it. Julian Lloyd Webber is at the Millfield Theatre, Silver Street, Edmonton, on Thursday, July the 2nd, 7:45 p.m. Details 0208 807 6680 /enfield.gov.uk.
Thousands of runners limbered up to raise £270,000 for Cancer Research UK. They raced around Trent Park in the charity's Race for Life event. Women and children competed in the 5 or 10-kilometre race on Sunday, and runners dressed up in pink to celebrate their achievements. Many of them had pictures on their T-shirts of friends and family who had been diagnosed with cancer, and others had written details of the reasons they were inspired to join the event on all of Cockfosters Road. Across the country, 39,835 people participated in Race for Life events and helped raise £3.3 million to help in the fight against cancer. Women looking for another challenge can sign up to compete in the charity's first women-only marathon and half-marathon at Lee Valley on Sunday, October the 4th.
We have now reached the end of side 1 of this tape. Please stop your machine now, take out the cassette, turn it over and start side 2.